As we are quickly approaching the upcoming full moon happening in the sign of Aries on October 17th, we have many layers and dimensions of energetic intensities shaping up. And because of that, I want to invite you to take a moment to do a little drop in with yourself, a little check in, and just ask yourself, what are my truest personal goals? Desires and passions at this time in my life. The energies around this lunation are compelling us to be able to move past long standing fears and limitations, ultimately renewing our focus on whatever our true goals, desires, and passions are. The key is to not get caught up in impulsiveness and recklessness, which is another component of the energy showing up now, which we're definitely going to get into. Let's go ahead and take a look. Welcome back, my friends. This is Carrie Konyha at holisticspsychic.com and Soul Star Healing Arts Center in Sedona, Arizona. I'm a professional psychic reader, shamanic energy healing practitioner who works with astrology to guide and inform people in accessing their full potential and manifesting their best lives. In a few minutes, I'm going to get into the details of the astrology, and I am going to pull some tarot cards for some additional insights and wisdom teachings later on. But first, let me talk about like the bigger picture themes that are showing up here. This full moon represents a pinnacle of energy, drive, and determination. It's a time where our passions and desires come into focus, and we are called to take bold action in the direction of what our goals are. Ultimately, this full moon is about embracing your inner warrior, courageousness, and taking risks to pursue what ignites your soul, your passions. As we approach this full moon, our emotions may run high, and there's a tendency towards impulsivity. And that's because the Aries energy can be fiery and unpredictable. So it's really crucial to keep our emotions in check and avoid reckless behavior. Stay focused on the balance between following your intuition and use the rational mind to make sound decisions. Remember that self-awareness and balance are keys to navigating these intense energies. Independence and freedom are key themes that are showing up right now, and it's likely going to be noticed within you as feelings of restlessness. This can be within our jobs, our living situations, our personal lives, all the way around. It's essential right now to notice and recognize where we feel restricted, where we feel trapped, where we feel limited, and take steps to break free from these limitations. The opportunity for growth right now is connected to learning how to assert ourselves in healthy ways, especially when it comes to communication and matters having to do with establishing or setting healthy boundaries so that we can maintain our emotional well being. The Aries full moon can also bring out our competitive side. Competitiveness is an aspect of Aries energy. And while a healthy dose of competition can drive us to succeed, it's vital to remember that our self worth shouldn't be tied to external validation. We must focus our internal motivation, celebrate our achievements, and acknowledge our progress rather than comparing ourselves to others. So, channeling that competitive energy towards yourself as a personal growth incentive in a healthy way where you are just inviting yourself to rise to the occasion of expanding beyond what your comfort zone may be right now. Astrologically speaking, the main element that's connected to this full moon actually is still water, which is why there's this emotional energy that's showing up. But then the next dominant element is fire. Fire is expansive energy, it's passionate. The fire element is where that impulsiveness or reckless tendencies can come in. As you may know, if you follow astrology, each planet, each sign has its high vibration conscious aspect and then its challenge unconscious aspect. And so when we know what the energy is and we know what to anticipate, it does help us to work with it more consciously in the way where we can use mindfulness to really fully embody the more conscious, higher vibration aspects in the best way that we are able to. The primary modality right now is cardinal. And so ultimately, that means that with these intense energies that are showing up, ultimately, the opportunity is in establishing new energetic momentums and having energy circulating in new facets of your life right now. The cardinal energy is initiating energy, it's motivating energy. It likes to move forward and come into its expansion. So that energy is definitely going to help us in rising into connecting with whatever those goals and desires are at this time. So we have three intense aspects happening right now astrologically, which I'm going to talk about, but I want to just talk about the basics of the energy of the moon first. So we have the full moon happening in the sign of Aries. Aries is a fire sign and it is passionate, it's adventurous, it's all about courageousness and leadership. So these are some themes that are coming in for all of us collectively with this particular full moon. Now, this full moon in Aries is also aligned with, right next to or conjunct, Chiron. Chiron is the asteroid that is connected to the archetype of the wounded healer. So, with the full moon joining forces with the energy of Chiron, full moon in Aries, Chiron in Aries, this is a time where we can make really big leaps and bounds forward with having deeper layers of healing or even resolving what has been long standing emotional wounds or traumas. Now, this is further compounded by this because the full moon is in Aries and Aries is ruled by Mars. That makes Mars the ruling, governing planetary energy over the full moon. So we look at what's going on with Mars right now. Mars is in Cancer. Mars in Cancer, the best way to channel that energy is also connected with, can be ancestral healing, because on one level, Cancer has to do with our lineage, our roots, the past. And with the energies that are already coming in around the moon, especially because the full moon and Chiron are actually squaring Mars in Cancer, ancestral wounds, deeper components of healing past wounds, healing things that are connected to our past childhood, our home environment, all of those things. Now, here's another thing that I'm going to talk about as we're looking at the peripheral here. I'm kind of skipping ahead, but just a few days after the full moon, we enter into Scorpio season. Scorpio season is naturally the very best time of year to be doing deep inner shadow work healing. This is why I offer my shamanic healing and empowerment retreat every year only during Scorpio season, because it is naturally the time of year for doing these deep healing, transformation, empowerment work. This year, my retreat is happening here in Sedona at my healing center on the weekend of October 25th through 27th. There is a link below that you can check out. There is still time to join us if you want to hop on up here and come be with us here in Sedona for this empowering time. Now, talking about Scorpio season, we have a grand water trine still happening that is connected to these Scorpio energies. We have Venus at the last degree of Scorpio. Scorpio is the energy of deep healing, deep connections, connecting deeply within yourself. It is ruled by Pluto, which we're going to talk about in a minute because Pluto is in the mix here. And so there's or shared themes between Pluto and Scorpio in the way that the energy themes are connected to transformation, alchemy, empowerment, that is connected with deep healing and being deeply connected with who you are. Ultimately, as we're doing our healing work, we drop back into our inner feelings of harmony, balance, and inspiration. We also have Neptune in Pisces connected to this trine, and the Mars that is in Cancer. Neptune in Pisces is very much connected to the archetype of the mystic. So taking approaches to our healing that are spiritual, that are shamanic, that ultimately get us back on track with thriving growth, fulfillment in our life through feeling more connected with ourselves spiritually is very much connected to this water trine energy. Of course, with the full moon, the moon is opposite of the sun. The moon is in Aries, the sun is in Libra. That in and of itself brings us into our own self-reflection of our path and how that might be impacting our ideals, our beliefs, or our actual situations that are connected to long-term relationships. Themes about relationships are being revisited right now, which is actually connected to the new moon solar eclipse that we had a few weeks ago in Libra. So there's a little bit more of an intense awareness connected to where there wants to be endings and beginnings regarding relationships. This doesn't have to mean the end of an actual relationship. Sometimes it will mean that, but it can also mean the end of a long-standing issue within a relationship, the end of a long-standing difficulty or belief or wound that you've had within you regarding relationships. These are all themes that are coming up right now. And the themes that are coming up are ultimately with the intention of healing, empowerment, and fortifying a renewed focus and ambition, again, regarding what our true personal goals are in our life right now. Now, the kite formation that we have going on with Pluto at the apex or the point, this is involving that grand water trine that I just talked about, with Pluto making sextile aspects to both Venus and Neptune. So Pluto being at the point of this kite formation, which kite formations are like liftoff points. It shows us where we have the opportunity to really rise into an expansion, an elevation, higher vibration, a liberation. So again, Pluto is alchemy, transformation, deep healing, evolution, and empowerment. Soul evolution that is directly connected to deep inner healing, old wounds, deep shadow work healing is very much connected to the energies of now, which again is why I'm doing that retreat now. We're harnessing the power of the energies to supercharge our efforts here so that our efforts can bring us the best possible results. Even if you're not coming to my retreat, I definitely encourage you to create some space in the next few weeks as we're moving into Scorpio season to create a little personal retreat for yourself. Take a weekend off if you can and just really dive into your self-care, your self-nurturing, deeper healing things. Shamanic power retrievals, deep intensive breath work, sound healing, all of those things. Jupiter also just went retrograde a few days ago in the sign of Gemini. So Jupiter is the planet of growth, expansion, empowerment, good fortune. It's connected to the archetype of the truth seeker, life philosophies, spiritual connection, all of those things. With Jupiter retrograde in Gemini, it's a time of self-reflection connected to what our current communication styles are, how we can improve those things. It's also reconsideration connected to where we are investing in our self-development, because Gemini is also about learning, studying, sharing ideas, learning through social interactions and all of those things. And then this last configuration in that I'm going to talk about here that's going on right now is called a grand cross or a grand square. And this happens when we have planets that are opposite each other and squaring each other. So in the zodiac wheel, it looks like a big square. And this is definitely a significant challenge aspect that specifically does lead to a giant step forward in our growth and empowerment. So this is happening between Pluto, the sun in Libra, so Pluto in Capricorn, which I have to talk about that because Pluto just went direct in Capricorn a few days ago as well. The sun in Libra, Mars in Cancer, and the full moon conjunct Chiron. Okay, so this is a big energy where Pluto just went direct a few days ago in the sign of Capricorn. Now, this is a long thing that's playing out. Pluto has been in Capricorn since 2008. Earlier this year, it did dip into Aquarius and then for like a few months and then retrograded back into Capricorn, I believe in May. And it just now stationed direct several days ago. And we are in the last like 6 weeks right now of Pluto being in Capricorn for the duration of the lifetime of anyone who's on the planet right now. So this is a pretty significant focus here, a pretty significant energy shift. So as we're sweeping through this last half of a degree of Capricorn in the forward movement, basically, I feel it as we're preparing to graduate. We're preparing to graduate from all the ways that we have been uniquely developing and evolving in whatever way is connected to the Capricorn area of your chart since 2008. And we're all collectively preparing to bring those developments and masteries that we've accomplished since then and bringing it into the world where we can be of service. Now, in order for you to really get a more dialed in specific idea of how this is going to be showing up for you, you would want to look at your natal chart to see where the Capricorn sector of your chart is and then the Aquarius sector of your chart. If you don't know that, of course, you can reach out to me and have a reading with me about that. This is a really significant time. As we're moving into Pluto in Aquarius, which is going to be around November 19th, this last few weeks is going to be highlighting things that have to do with your responsibilities, your duties, your public life, your long-term goals, and career potentials as well. Okay, so we're reevaluating all of that and deciding what do we want to bring forward into our life from this point forward. And within that, more than likely, there's going to be some things that we feel complete with. So graduating from some things and moving into new focuses that are definitely connected to collaboration, humanitarianism, evolution of humanity type themes, and noticing how you feel a personal calling to be contributing to that within your personal sphere of influence. So there's a ton going on with this full moon, definitely bringing in opportunities for growth and self-empowerment as we tap into our inner strengths and resilience. This full moon is a super powerful catalyst for growth, change, and self-empowerment. With that, let me pull a few cards here. So this is going to be for the collective. I'm going to select 3 cards And we can look at this collectively in regard to how we can all do our own part to step into our self-leadership and contributing to that evolution of humanity in your own unique way that you feel guided to based on that, as I said. So let me just give these a few shuffles here. And with the intensities of the energies that are coming up, I'm working with my Osho Zen Tarot today. I'm going to pick 3 cards at once. I'm going to look at them collectively and let the insights and wisdom teachings unfold. We have the energy of going with the flow. It's showing up reversed, which I'll talk about, but this is what the card looks like, going with the flow. We have completion and suppression. So if we're looking at this as a collective message around how all of us here who are what I call evolutionary souls, people who incarnated at this time in history to support the evolution of humanity, how can we step into our leadership to support that within our respective spheres of influence or communities? Obviously, there's a lot of suppression things going on in the world right now on many different facets and factors, from government to whatever else. So that suppression in the Osho Zen Tarot is connected to the number 10. And in the tarot, 10s are transitional energies. It's integrative energies. When 10s show up, it means that we're bringing one cycle of experience to completion. A new cycle of experience or chapter of experience is opening up. And right now we have metaphorically one foot in each realm, where we're deciding what is of value from my recent experience that I can bring with me into the new, and what do I want to leave behind. So the big thing that we are all dropping, and this has to do, or is connected to, I should say, the full moon conjunct Chiron. What we're dropping is old woundedness. What we're dropping is us identifying individually with our old wounds and traumas. We're not allowing those things to suppress our energies or bring us into like a depressed or constricted energy. We're not identifying with our wounds. We're identifying with the power of our resilience to heal and shift into our empowered selves. That is how we each respectively contribute to the collective of stepping into empowered, soul-centered leadership. We have to, the time, I feel I'm getting like the time is now. Pluto going into Aquarius is like no joke, huge shift. It's going to be in Aquarius for like 20 years till like 2043. So that's like 2 decades of a whole new energy of expanded, liberated. And so in order for us to step into that, we have to be in our empowered selves. We have to identify with our strengths, our resilience, our ability to overcome, and our ability to have even gratitude for the things in our life that have brought us woundedness, because it's a part of what brought us into our empowerment and strength now. This is definitely a big time of light workers kicking it up a few notches and really stepping into your role as a light worker. This is the beginnings of that. And the completion card that's coming up, I feel, is completing karma. When we look at that square between the moon, which is conjunct Chiron, squaring Mars in Cancer, Cancer being about the past, Chiron being about old wounds. This is not only healing old wounds of things that happened to you in this lifetime. It's clearing karma, healing karmic situations that led to those wounds, bringing them to completion once and for all. Some of us might be healing and clearing karma again from our soul lineage, our ancestral lineage, things that are connected to alternate life experience or previous life experiences, whatever you believe in. And then the going with the flow card reversed is an energy of, it's a message about not resisting flowing forward with change. Sometimes when we are on some type of new path that is unfamiliar to us, that we're not sure about, we're not versed in or grounded in, there can be a tendency to just revert back to what's comfortable, even though it's perhaps a more restricted or outgrown path, which is where the resistance of going with the flow comes in. And the going with the flow card did show up reversed, which again, I feel is a message to not resist change. This is for sure a strong time of change that is liberating, that brings us into our empowerment. And for those of us who are those evolutionary souls, the people that are committed to doing your part to support the evolution and healing, an expansion of awareness in humanity, it all starts with you, right? It starts with us. We have to be willing to let go of the safety of the known little cocoon so that we can become the butterfly. And I would love to hear your take on what's going on with these energies and how you're experiencing it. So please do contribute your comment below. All my love, blessings. If you love this type of content and you gained something out of this video, please do take a moment to like the video and subscribe. It really does help to get my work out there a little bit more and enables me to continue to make these videos for all of us here. All my love, blessings, namaste, and I'm going to see you all in the next video.